Festival is happening right now at the time this is being released on YouTube. Now, the world of international cinema is apparently in the city right now, and after the success of last year's festival, I mean, they're starting to offer more films plus events that apparently that will probably get everyone that attends the festival this year, including myself, excited for it. Now, I mean, I only went to the festival a few times in the past decade, as well as volunteering for it, where I kind of met a lot of fun people, as well as some famous actors and filmmakers along the way. And so apparently, the program for this year's film festival apparently was released a month ago, but apparently as the month progressed, apparently they started to add more films into the program. And actually, I mean, there's probably something for everyone, including some of the most highly anticipated films that will be released this fall that could possibly get a lot of attention during award season. Like last year, where apparently two of the films that were shown at the festival last year, including, well, Honora, which as you probably know, apparently got Best Picture at the Academy Awards this year, and apparently swept the awards, as well as Flow, which got Best Animated Feature at the Academy Awards this year. Also, apparently a big win for apparently Latvia being the first film for the country to actually get an award, and also it's it kind of made history being the first animated film apparently was made with open source software, in this case Blender, to actually get the award. Yeah, I mean, the audiences like those films, well, and apparently it did cause a lot of hype for them to get awards during award season, well, apparently this year. I was kind of looking through the program of the festival, and apparently there's a few films that are probably going to see. And we're going to talk about some of them, as well as some events that will be happening throughout the festival. So, the first film we're probably going to talk about is a film that I'm probably very excited for. It's Rental Family, which is the new film that has Brendan Fraser, which some anime fans are describing it as Rent a Girlfriend, but peak. Another way you could say it's that, but not cringe. And in the film, you kind of have Brendan Fraser playing an actor who's trying to make a big break, and then apparently he gets hired by various families in Japan to kind of play one of their relatives, and then things happen during that period, which the film did get a lot of a hype during when it was shown at the Toronto International Film Festival too, which one reviewer apparently from CBC News apparently said that maybe the film could get Best Picture at the Academy Awards next year, which apparently if that happens, maybe we're probably going to get the live-action version of Rent a Girlfriend, possibly. But, I mean, it's kind of an interesting film, since with its plot, which, and also got a fellow Canadian being in the lead role, Brendan Fraser, which, this is his first film in a leading role since him getting Best Actor in the Academy Awards for The Whale, which, I mean, it was a good film, but although it was a bit unusual at times since it was directed by Darren Aronofsky. Now to the comments about the Gallo films at the festival this year, which one of them is apparently one of two films directed by Richard Linklater, and the first of these two is another film that I'm actually very excited for, since it was shown at the Cannes Film Festival this year, which is the film about the French New Wave with Nouvelle Vague. It follows Jean-Luc Godard during the making of the film that would probably caused the French New Wave to go go mainstream with Breathless, and it's kind of based on seeing a bit of footage from the film, and it's kind of it's kind of maybe presented in the style of, let's say, Breathless, which I mean it's an interesting film for its time, even though it does have a bit of choppy editing in it, and surprisingly Zooey Deschanel is apparently in this film too, which kind of makes sense because I mean she would probably fit the era where the film takes place, and she's also quirky. But I mean, so the other film that apparently Richard Linklater is apparently also releasing this year is Blue Moon, which has Ethan Hawke and does focus on the night when the Rodgers and Hammerstein musical Oklahoma was premiered. Focus on kind of maybe one of the people involved in that musical, which that team would later make No Sound of Music, and like a few years after that. That would be kind of like a fun film to see, though it did get at least one award at another film festival actually recently. So I'll see two kind of similar themed films by Richard Linklater, which apparently but they like one probably appealing to like U.S. audiences and one that's probably going to appeal to international audiences. I mean, it's kind of like a co-production in a sense, at least. And the film that will probably end the festival this year is the film Calm 75, which kind of talks about like the preparations for what would be a famous jazz concert in 1975 that apparently was improvised and all performed in an hour, which would eventually become like one of the best-selling album in jazz history. And but accompanying that screening of the film, there will also include a live performance with Vancouver pianist Chris Gestrin, which kind of fits because both are kind of related with jazz, and it's going to be an interesting film to kind of see. Oh, we'll eventually see it. Kind of now back to Cannes Film Festival, where apparently the film that got the Palme d'Or this year, Jafar Panahi's It Was Just an Accident, apparently will be shown, and Jafar Panahi apparently was the same person that made various films, including No Bears, and he's also like a very vocal filmmaker in Iran, where he kind of speaks out on the country's politics, but also apparently he also talks about the many problems that he has to go through when he's like making films because of the government in his home country. And based on what I kind of know about the film, it apparently does involve like a wedding and an accident. That's what I know. So that'll be kind of interesting when I see that film. Well, and a fellow user in Letterboxd who also made probably one of the greatest Canadian films in recent years. I Like Movies apparently is back in the festival with a new film. China Livick follow-up to that film, I Like Movies, is Mile and Kicks, which changes the focus, switches from movies to music, where it kind of focuses on a music critic apparently writing a review on Alanis Morissette's probably famous album Jag Little Pill, and apparently it's similar kind of in the vein of I Like Movies, but I mean, still in Canada, the festival is also going to be showing the film that's related to the Viceland show, Nirvana the band, the show, and Nirvana the band, the show, the movie. Which the show was made by Matt Johnson, who also made another film that's probably one of the greatest Canadian films in recent years, Blackberry. And I mean, he also stars in the show and that film too, and apparently he's going to be in this one, which I've heard of it, but I haven't actually seen the show yet, so it's kind of going to be interesting to see what happens in this film, and like to also be happening in this film as well too. And kind of with kind of staying in my province, British Columbia, there's this documentary that's apparently they're actually going to show in the festival called The Track, which follows a group of lugers, and apparently in Bosnia, apparently training in an abandoned luge track, and apparently in Sarajevo, and it kind of tackles on their journey to possibly competing in the Winter Olympics, and of course the legacy of that Winter Olympics in Sarajevo, apparently, which and it's made by a few local filmmakers, so it should be an interesting documentary to see. And then there's also this other local film apparently called A Welcome Distraction, which focuses on a single guy going through grief, which I mean, it might be kind of like a romantic comedy, but it could be serious at times too, and could be like a little indie romantic comedy. It possibly could be to get people talking, at least for Canadian cinema, at least. Related to grief, and this is actually one of the big events that are apparently going to be happening at the festival, where Marc Maron is apparently going to be at the festival, probably to kind of promote his recent documentary Are We Good, which now many of you probably know Marc Maron as the comedian who's also a vocal critic of like President Donald Trump, and he actually recently ended his podcast. I knew him from like he's in the show Maron, but also he's also in the Netflix show Glow, and apparently he might have played the comedian that warms up the audience in the game show scene in Paul Thomas Anderson's Magnolia, which that might be him, but that could be another comedian playing him. But that comedian. But yeah, in this so when he actually promotes the documentary, apparently he's going to be talking about it as well as kind of about the landscape kind of around the case of what's happening in current events right now at the moment. The documentary kind of focuses on Mark after the loss of his wife and kind of how he goes through it, while at the same time kind of maybe tackling other problems of his own with, of course, with the landscape in current events right now. But it'll be kind of amazing to kind of see the man himself in person, and he's ask him a question about not only the documentary but about comedy and things. And they're also apparently doing some other talks during the festival, including they're apparently also going to be doing some talks with probably the creator of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and apparently also the TV show version of The Man Who Fell to Earth, of Jenny Lumet. There's also going to be a talk with David Lynch's cinematographer, Frederick Ems, who apparently also has a film that's going to be shown in the festival with Jim Jarmusch's father, mother, sister, brother, which he also kind of had worked with Jim Jarmusch too, another probably famous director too, and that'd be nice to kind of learn about working with those two directors. There will also be a talk with famed producer Jeremy Dawson, who produced a variety of films, including some of the films of Wes Anderson, including his recent film, The Phoenician Scheme, and also they're also going to be inviting Canadian director Zacharias, who also has a film in the festival with Wrong Husband, and he's also well known for making the film I Started Enjoyed The Fast Runner, which apparently got the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival during the year it premiered, and he's going to probably talk a lot about with Indigenous filmmaking. But they also got the production designer of The New Running Man, directed by Andrew Wright with Marcus Rowland, and they also got the visual effects supervisor on Guillermo del Toro's version of Frankenstein, starring Jacob Elordi with Dennis Verratti, which that's gonna be a lot of informative talks they'll be during the festival too, at least. But they're also, and finally, they're also during the festival. They're going to be showing a few series on various things related to cinema, including one which focuses on spotlight on South Korea and cinema, which of course is well known thanks to various South Korean directors, including Bong Joon-ho and Park Chan-wook. Which Park Chan-wook has a film that they'll be showing the festival, which will probably release after the festival ends with No Other Choice, which could be described as South Korea's Don't Look Up. It does have things you would expect in a Park Chan-wook film in a sense, and so in this series, they're going to be showcasing apparently a few new and upcoming directors from the country, which who we might see probably in in the future, and they might get also worldwide attention, kind of like Bong Joon-ho, when apparently his first student film apparently was shown in the festival, and some of his films would later be shown in the history of the festival, where he would later get apparently the Lifetime Achievement Award at the festival, the Vanguard Award, and I had the honor of apparently seeing Bong apparently getting that award in person, though he was not at the in the theater in person because he had to do like a surgery, and apparently but I did see the person that did the special effects on the film, Okja, and also apparently also saw the person that was a stand-in for the pig in the film, and so they're gonna be inviting six directors, and they're gonna introduce the film. But some of them actually they're premiering them at the festival. But out of the six that will actually be shown in this series, apparently the one that I'm probably kind of excited to probably see is probably Savan, which kind of follows a girl apparently discovering a soap company that could possibly like solve her problems, which is kind of interesting plot. It's directed by Lee Jun Sup, and I mean, the film might kind of be on par maybe with the film that is made by Ruben Onslett, possibly. But I mean, we'll see when I kind of see the film. And yeah, that's probably some of like the highlights of what what will be shown at the Vancouver International Film Festival here, which are films that I'll probably see as well. But I mean, there are a lot of other films that they're probably gonna. I'm probably gonna see in the festival as well too. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. I mean, and also they also added some more films to the program, including surprisingly Bradley Cooper's recent film, which focuses on comedy, which I mean, that's gonna be an interesting film to see, and it might be a Netflix film, but I mean, even though a few Netflix films are being shown at the festival this year, but I mean, but yeah, I mean, I'll be able to probably be going around the festival for like in the next week, and I'll probably give little updates about it both on Twitch and also on my YouTube channel, which I will I'll talk about my experiences and then possibly talk about the people I met during the festival and actual festival this year, probably after it happens. And yeah, this is going to be a very fun festival. I mean, if you're going to the festival, you might see me there, probably volunteering. You can probably talk to me about cinema and also the festival too. The Vancouver International Film Festival this year happens between October 2nd and October 12th. You can find more information about the festival and get tickets for it through the festival's website at www.vif.org. And if you kind of enjoyed this little preview of the International Film Festival series, you could probably like the video or subscribe to my channel where I'll talk more about film. And with that, I'm Joe Snowshun. I'll see you later. Bye, everyone.